This is Harsh Rules, I'm Ben Harsh, and today we're going to learn to play Fire in the Lake. Fire in the Lake, the second edition, was released in 2018 by GMT Games and designed by Mark Herman and Volko Ruhnke. The first edition was released in 2014. This game supports up to 4 players and takes about 3 hours to play. Before we begin this episode, I'd like to recognize the Harsh Rules Patreon supporters that help make content like this possible. If you'd like to support the channel, head over to patreon.com/harshrules to learn more. And once again, thank you for your support. I would also like to take a moment for a special thanks to our super supporter, Rob B., also known as Messin' Up Rules over on Board Game Geek. Rob graciously sent me a copy of Fire in the Lake for this breakdown series. Welcome back to the Harsh Rules breakdown for Fire in the Lake. In this episode, we're going to learn about special activities. When a faction takes a turn on the sequence of play flowchart, the second path will allow them to pair an operation with a special activity. When the second faction takes their turn, they have this opportunity when the first faction selects the third path, which is to play an event. Each faction has 3 special activities as shown on their player aid in the right-hand column. Unlike operations, special activities have no resource cost. As with operations, the executing faction selects spaces, other factions, or pieces affected in the order of the actions. The player will select a given space only once as a location for a given special activity. Some special activities specify that they may only accompany certain types of operations. And some special activities may designate whether they occur in the same space as the operation or another space. An important note to remember, a faction may execute its special activity at any one time immediately before, during, or after its operation. Now that we know the circumstances where a player may use a special activity, we're now ready to walk through each faction's special activities and learn how they function. We have a lot to cover, so let's get started. The ARVN faction can use the Govern special activity to obtain aid or extract patronage from aid and support. Govern may only accompany training or patrol and take place in 1 or 2 coin-controlled provinces or cities with any level of support. However, Govern may not be conducted in Saigon, nor selected with a training operation. Please note that ARVN may train and govern, but not in the same space during the same op. The procedure for govern is as follows. Select 1 or 2 coin-controlled spaces with support and not Saigon nor selected for training. Next, compare the number of ARVN cubes to US cubes in each selected space. If there are less ARVN cubes than US cubes, then the player may add 3 times the population of that space to the aid marker. If there are more ARVN cubes compared to US cubes in the space, then the player has a choice. They may add 3 times the population to aid, or the ARVN player may transfer 1 times the population from aid to patronage, and then shift the space's influence 1 level towards neutral. Remember, when adjusting the patron marker, also update the ARVN faction's victory marker, since patronage is one of its victory conditions. With the ARVN's transport special activity, they may relocate troops quickly and prepare their rangers. This special activity may accompany any operation, and may be conducted in any location. With transport, move up to 6 ARVN troops or rangers from one space by way of adjacent lines of communication if desired. They may continue to move along adjacent lines of communication or through cities and then if desired into any adjacent destinations, but not North Vietnam. They must stop at any NVA or VC pieces. Then flip all rangers anywhere on the map to underground. The raid special activity allows the ARVN faction to strike with their special forces, called the Rangers. A raid may only accompany a patrol, sweep, or assault operation and take place in 1 or 2 spaces. To conduct a raid, in each selected space, move in any adjacent Rangers desired, keeping them either underground or active. Then, if desired, activate an underground Ranger in each space to remove 2 enemy pieces. Bases may only be removed once no other enemy pieces are there. Tunneled bases may not be removed, but the raid special activity may remove underground guerrillas. With the advised special activity, the U.S. faction may strike with indigenous forces and add aid. This special activity may only accompany training or patrol and take place in 1 or 2 spaces not selected for training. Also, this special activity may never be used in North Vietnam. The procedure is as follows. In each selected space, either sweep within the space with ARVN forces, as if an ARVN sweep without movement, however, this may not be done in a monsoon, or assault in the space as if in an ARVN assault, or activate 1 underground irregular or Ranger there to remove 2 enemy pieces. Bases may only be removed once no other enemy pieces are there. Tunnel bases may not be removed, however, underground guerrillas may be removed. Then, if desired, add +6 to the aid total, to a maximum of 75. Next, let's talk about airlifts. The U.S. faction can use airlifts to mass troops quickly for an operation. The airlift special activity may be paired with any operation. Airlifts can take place in any 4 spaces, but only 2 during a monsoon. To complete an airlift procedure, move any U.S. troops and up to 4 ARVN troops, Rangers, or Irregulars among any 4 spaces, 2 spaces during a monsoon. As always, the North Vietnam space is off limits. Airstrike destroys exposed insurgent units and can degrade the trail. Airstrike may accompany any operation and can take place in up to 6 spaces, 2 spaces during a monsoon, as long as the space has U.S. or ARVN game pieces in it, along with insurgent game pieces to target. The procedure for an airstrike is as follows. The U.S. player will first roll 1 6-sided die. The die result equals the number of hits. Those hits may then be distributed between the 6 spaces or the trail. This is true even during a monsoon when the U.S. faction is limited to 2 spaces. They can still receive up to 6 hits. Each hit can be used to remove 1 insurgent game piece. However, casualties must be selected following the removal priority. Remove NVA troops before any guerrillas. Remove bases only from spaces where no other insurgent pieces remain. Airstrikes cannot be used to remove underground guerrillas nor tunneled bases. 2 hits are required to degrade the trail by 1 box, and 1 box is the maximum the trail can be degraded per turn. Then, as a penalty for the airstrike, shift each space where any piece was removed 1 level towards active opposition. A final note, this penalty is only in effect for province or city spaces with at least 1 population. The Infiltrate special activity enables the NVA to build up its conventional forces or to take over VC forces. It also erodes opposition. Also be aware, it may only accompany rally or march. Infiltration can take place in 1 or 2 spaces that have either an NVA base or more NVA pieces than VC pieces. The procedure is as follows. If an NVA base or bases, place NVA troops up to the trail value plus the desired 1-for-1 with added NVA troops, or if NVA outnumber VC, shift any opposition there by 1 level towards neutral. Then replace any 1 VC piece desired with its NVA counterpart. If replacing a VC tunneled base, flip the tunnel marker from the VC to NVA. Please note, in order to remove VC, NVA must have or make available the NVA counterpart and place it in the VC's place. Bombardment imposes losses on concentrated enemy troops. Bombardments may occur in one or two spaces with any combination of at least 3 ARVN and/or U.S. troops, police and special forces do not count, or with any U.S. or ARVN base. When targeting a space for bombardment, at least 3 NVA troops must be in the space or adjacent to the space. To complete the procedure, remove 1 U.S. or ARVN troop cube from each selected location. If the targeted faction is the U.S., move that cube to the casualties box. Both insurgent factions have a special activity called ambush, so we'll cover them together. Ambush enables an insurgent faction to attack on the move, ensure the success of attacks, and avoid attrition and exposure of their guerrillas. Ambushes may take place in 1 or 2 spaces selected and paid for as march destinations, or for attack by guerrillas on the accompanying operation. At least 1 guerrilla that marched into or will attack in each space must be underground. When awarded per an event on a card, a free ambush occurs as if an attack in the space. Please note, ambush accompanying attack modifies that attack in that space rather than adding a second attack there. The procedure for an ambush is as follows. First, an insurgent faction attacks in each selected location at no added cost in resources. However, instead of the usual attack procedure, the attacks in those spaces each remove only 1 enemy piece, with bases being last. This activates 1 underground guerrilla only and automatically succeeds. Remove the enemy piece normally. Also, do not remove any insurgent pieces involved in the ambush, even if there were U.S. troops removed. If a selected ambush space is a line of communication, the insurgent force may remove the enemy piece from any adjacent space instead, with bases being last. Even where another target was just removed, the line of communication need not have an enemy to be selected for attack with ambush. The taxation special activity enables the VC to gain resources from areas they inhabit. They may tax up to 4 spaces that have underground VC guerrillas and no coin control. The procedure is as follows. For each space, activate 1 underground VC guerrilla, then add the space's econ value, or twice its population, to VC resources. If the space is a province or city, shift its influence 1 level towards active support. A quick note. There is no coin control of lines of communication, so VC can tax there even if outnumbered. VC can also tax sabotaged lines of communication. Subversion replaces ARVN pieces with VC guerrillas and saps patronage. Subversion may only accompany rally, march, or terror. This special activity may occur in any 1 or 2 spaces with at least 1 underground VC guerrilla and any ARVN cubes. For the procedure, in each space remove any 2 ARVN cubes or replace 1 cube there with a VC guerrilla, then drop patronage by 1 for every 2 ARVN pieces removed, or replaced with the total rounded down. And now that we've covered all the special activities, this is a good place to stop for this episode. In the next episode of this breakdown series, we will look at card events and the coup phase. So make sure you're subscribed to the channel, click the bell icon for notifications so you'll know when the next episode becomes available. If you found this video helpful, please give me a like and share with your friends. To be the first notified when the next episode of Harsh Rules becomes available, please hit the bell icon for notifications. And as always, this has been Harsh for Harsh Rules. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.